Welcome to the Financial Tracker Notion template, a comprehensive tool that will help you take control of your finances. This template lets you track your accounts, income and expense transactions, transfers, subscriptions, bills, sinking funds, and debt repayments all in one place. Let's dive in and get your finances organized. First, let's start off by setting up your budget. We use the 50-30-20 rule, which helps you manage your money effectively by allocating 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayments, ensuring a balanced and sustainable financial plan. You first start off by estimating your monthly revenue. So let's say you make $5,000 a month. You click on one of the cells and you change this number to $5,000. That means that you are allocating $1,500 to wants, $1,000 to debt repayments, and $2,500 to obligations, which sums up to $5,000. Next, we move on to income categories. Enter all your income categories here. If you wish to delete one of these, simply click on the 6 dots and select delete. Next, we move on to the expense categories. You can create your own expense category by clicking on plus new. So let's say education. You can choose an icon and link it to your budget allocation. Now we need to make sure that all of these numbers add up to $5,000. So you have to play around with the numbers until they do. And as well, we need to make sure that the planned allocation equals the actual allocation. So we have reached our budget of $5,000, and the planned allocation equals the actual allocation. Now back to the home page. To create a new account, you click on the Add Account button and you write the account name. You choose the type and you write down the starting balance. Later on, every income, expense, or transfer that you make from or to this account will be shown here. So for example, if you come to this account here, you'll see your income by month, your expenses, the total monthly expenses shown here, and the transfers made to and from this account. To add a new income, click on Add Income and fill out the properties. And we always need to link it to the month so that it can show up in our overview balance. And we can now find it in the recent transactions. Now to add a new expense, click on Add Expense and fill out the properties. Once again, we need to make sure to connect it to the correct month. Since this one is neither a subscription nor a bill, we can leave this property empty. We will now find it under Recent Expenses. To add a new transfer, click on the New Transfer button and fill out the properties. Since the transfer is to the cash account, we don't have to fill out neither the savings goal nor the debt repayment. This will be filled out when you make a transfer to a sinking fund or to a debt repayment. So every time we only need to fill out one of these 3 properties, and you choose the type. And once again, we come down to the recent transactions, and in transfers, we find today's transfer. And finally, you can also record a recurring bill expense, but we will leave this for later. Now let's move on to the individual pages. Starting with the accounts page, you have a view of all of your accounts. and you can see them by category. So by checking, credit card, savings, and cash. Next, we move on to the income tracker page. Here, you'll be able to see your income by the current month, by month, or by year, as well as by category. Next, we look at expenses, where you can also view them by month, year, or by category. Moving on to transfers, you will find all the transfers between accounts to saving funds. You can see how much was transferred, the date, from which account and to which account, and as well debt repayments. Next is the sinking funds page, where you can track the money you set aside for future purchases. To create a new sinking fund, click on Plus New and make sure that you check off the active checkbox. So let's say our target amount is $5,000 and our initial amount is $300. You can now see the progress made towards reaching that goal. Add the date. As you can see, it says our due date is in 365 days away and our progress currently stands at 6%. When you reach the goal or due date, uncheck the active button and it will be moved to history. Now moving on to debt repayments. Here's where you can keep a list of all your debts. You can include things like student loans, mortgage, or even credit cards that you're no longer using and whose debt you want to pay off. So let's add a new debt. We add the loan amount, the amount that you've already paid off, and the expected monthly payment that you would like to make. You can see your progress, your estimated monthly payment, and the expected payoff date. Once the debt has been paid off, click on the Repaid button and it will be moved to historical debt. When you open a debt page, you can see all of the historical transactions that have been made to repay off that debt. Moving on to subscriptions, here you'll find a summary of all your active ones. To stay aware of your spending, you won't be manually adding expenses here. Instead, we'll be setting up a recurring expense in the expense database. As you can see, now we have 3 active subscriptions and you can see their payment frequency, the amount per month, and the days till the next billing date. You can also see all of the payments that were made and the deactivated ones. And when you open up one of the pages, you can see all of the latest payments that were made towards that subscription. Now let's set up recurring payments. To do that, we need to go to expenses. Let's take Canva as an example, which started on April 26th. So the next due date would be July 26th. Since today is July 25th, it says due in 1 day as it is a monthly expense. So we go to the expense page and we click on the blue arrow to create a new template. For the date, select today, day when duplicated, and fill out the rest of the properties. This is the account from which it will be paid, and this is left empty, as it will be updated manually, as I will show you in a bit. Link it to its subscription name, and close. And you click on the arrow again, you select Canva. Oh, I forgot to add the icon, so let me add the icon. Now we click on the 3 dots, select repeat and monthly. Since the payment is due tomorrow, I'm going to choose tomorrow. And now on the 26th of every month, there will be a new expense that is created. Let's just say that today is the 26th of July. A new expense has been created. We now have to go to the subscription page, and we need to assign the expense to a month so that it can be part of the formula for calculating overview expenses for July. So open the Canva page, select July. Since it has now been assigned a month, it will disappear from this table. This is not something that you need to do on a daily basis. It is something that you can do at the end of the month while doing your monthly review, for instance. Just ensure that all subscriptions have been assigned a month and that this table is empty. Next up is the recurring bills page. We first see our active bills. We see them by status and all of the historical payments made. To add a new bill, click on Plus New and fill out the properties. Here we'll find all the bills that are due today, due this week, and overdue. We can also see whether it's been paid or the days until the next billing date. Let's look at the electricity bill, which is overdue. This button allows us to record the expense directly from this page. Since we have recorded that expense and paid that bill, it now says that the next due date is in 30 days. And it will also be found under Paid Bills. Coming back to the home page, you can also pay a bill by clicking on this button and filling out the properties. As we said before, here you can find the current month's budget, but if you open one of the categories, you can see all of the expenses that were made towards that category, grouped by month. As you can see here, for example, we find the electricity bill that we just paid today, and only the transactions from the month of July are found on the front page. So in the month of July, we spent $145, which is reflected here, which means that we have 52% left from our budget to spend. On the left-hand side, we can also see the overview of the month of July. We can see our total inflows, our total outflows, and the monthly balance. It also tells you how much you have left over to spend in obligations, wants, and savings to make sure that you stay within your budget. Finally, we have the overview section where you will have a yearly view of your monthly income, expense, and balance, which helps you see the big picture of your finances. This overview can help you identify trends such as months where you spend more or save less and adjust your budget accordingly. When you open one of the pages, you will see that it is populated with that month's income, expenses, and transfers. And the expenses are divided between debt repayment and savings, obligations, and wants. You can also create a pie chart to see how well you stuck to your budget. All you need to do is to change the numbers after wants, obligations, and savings, and you get these numbers by looking at the totals here. So let's just say we were to put new numbers. And the pie chart changes automatically, and it allows you to see whether you stuck to your budget or not. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope it was useful and that by using this Notion template, you will have all the tools you need to stay organized, track your finances, and achieve your financial goals with ease.